Hello and welcome. Reports in EPLAN are basically and simply different project data which can be outputted. Reports can be internal or external. In EPLAN you can freeze reports, so if you look at my cover page right here, it's actually frozen, and you can see this cover page as well right here, it's actually frozen. In EPLAN you can freeze reports. Therefore, you can generate a report and then freeze it so that it can no longer be changed or updated when one runs an update. So in EPLAN, you can go to Tools and run updates for your project. But when a report is frozen like that, it cannot be updated. It cannot be updated manually or automatically. And therefore, in EPLAN, what you need to do is that you need to delete this page. For example, delete this one and this one in order to run or generate the report again. So often enough we freeze reports when we have comments on the cover page or something like that, and after that we don't want the report to be regenerated again, so we'll freeze it. So for example, if I insert a text, and maybe I'll just write anything like that, and I'll write it to be a 25, and maybe write it to be at that angle. Maybe we add information like that for the customer, or say, maybe let me write something that makes sense. So sometimes we can write something like this. Maybe let's make it red. So sometimes we can write a comment like this one, but often enough, if you didn't freeze this report and you update the reports, this comment just disappears. So that's why you need to freeze the report. So I'm going to show you an example. I'm going to just delete this one, and I'm going to just leave this one like that. I'm going to delete that one in the power enclosure, leave that cover page in the control enclosure. And then we're going to create our reports. I'm going to go to generate, and right here underneath generate, you should see that your project name is appearing there. If your project name is not appearing there and it appears another different project, it means you are actually selecting a different project. You need to select the project that you are currently working on or you currently want to generate reports for. So if you have multiple projects, you should just make sure from this section right here in your page navigators, you select the correct project. And then right here you can see there's a triangle there for the trees. If I click on that triangle, you see there's no templates available. So we need to create our own templates in EPLAN. So to create the first one, I'll create one for the cable overview. So I'll hit on that plus sign for new, and I'll select cable overview, and I'll say OK. And right here you can see there's filters. We'll speak about filters at a later stage. There's sorting here. I'll speak about sorting, but I'll actually speak about it in this window right here and not from this settings cable overview window. And right here you can see there's forms. You can just click on that and just start browsing which form do you want to use. For my situation, I'll use the F10_001, and then I'll hit open and I'll click OK. And right here what EPLAN asks you is that they want to know where do you want to put this report. So which structure or which manner do you want to put this report. So obviously I want to put it inside the plant. I want to put it inside welding shop, and the installation site I want it to be station 01. And right here, because I want this report to be used even with the control enclosure, power enclosure, remote enclosure, PLC enclosure, I'm not going to fill in the location designation. And then right here with the page name, so the page number basically will be 1100. For the cable overview, you can see that in your designation page for the cable overview, it should be page 1100. And after that, I'm going to click OK. And right here you can see it has created a template, and that template is number 1, So the name of it is 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just change the name of it, and I'll change it to cable overview, and I'll copy that name. And then right here I'm going to leave it like that, and then the supplementary field I'm going to leave it as 1. And then what happens is that with the automatic page description, I'm going to click that and uncheck that checkbox. What I want to do is that I want to manually enter the page description. So the page description is basically what you see here. Main current, that's the page description. Enclosure label page, that's the page description. Ground schematic, and so forth. Those are the page descriptions. So if you check that, what EPLAN will do is that it will usually take this name right here, which is cable overview, and give it that description. But if you fill it manually like that, it will actually take what you fill in manually. So you can actually fill in all that, and that will be the description of the page. So I'll just leave it like this. And then with the page sorting, I'm going to sort my pages right here. And I'll sort according to structures. And with the location designation, I'll check that checkbox right there. And then I'll click OK. So it will sort this page, this cable overview report, according to the location designation. And then I'm going to click here, add a new one. And a new one will be parts list. And with parts list, I'm going to select the form that I'm going to use for parts list. And the form I'll use for parts list will be F01_001. Hit open, click OK, select my structures right there, welding shop, station 01. If you want to save time, what you can do is you can copy this. So you can copy that, and you can use it for the next templates. Then for the parts list, it needs to be on page 1000. Click OK. Parts list will be the name of this template. And then for the automatic page, I'm going to just select that, and right here I'm going to hit parts list. And then for the page sorting, I'm going to sort according to the location designation, and that should be fine like that. And then I'm going to create a new one, and the next one will be revision overview. So I'll just scroll down a little bit just to find revision overview. Hit OK there, and right here I can just paste that. And revision overview, according to our designation page, it should be on page 3. And then the name of this template, I'm going to say it's revision overview. And then manually give the description of the page as revision overview. And then with the sorting, with the revision overview, there is no sorting, because the revision overview actually takes its sorting from the project itself. And as you can see right here, what I did with the revision overview, I didn't fill in the form name. So you can actually fill in the form name from this section. So you can just hit that drop down, go to browse, and for the revision overview, it will be F17_001. And that should be fine like that. And then we're going to create the next one, and the next one will be structure identifier overview. Hit OK, and right here select the form that you want to use, will be F24_001. Hit OK, and then right here we're going to just paste that. And then with the structure overview, the page should be page 4. Click OK there, and what we can do is that we can just give it a name. And I'll give it a manual name. So that will be the manual name. And then also with structure identifier, there's no need to do some page sorting. and then create another one, and the next one will be summarize parts list. And for the summarize parts list, I'll click there, hit OK, and the form type for the summarize parts list will be F2 underscore 004. Hit open, OK, and I can just paste that there. And then with the summarize part list, it needs to be on page 1300. Click OK, and then change the template name, and then give it a manual description, and it should be fine like that. And then with the page sorting, we'll do the same, sort according to the structure, location designation, and hit OK. And that should be fine like that. And create another one, and the next one will be table of content, and the form that I'll use for the table of content will be F6 underscore 001. Hit open, click OK, and fill in my structures like that. And for the table of content, it will be page 2 according to our designation page. Click OK there, and then I'm going to change and I will change the name of the template to be table of content, and also give it a manual description. And then right here with page sorting, I'll sort according to the structures, location designation, hit OK, and then create the next one. The next one will be terminal diagram. So you should not select terminal connection diagram or terminal strip overview. It will be terminal diagram. Click OK, and right here I'll select the F13 underscore 004. Should be this one. Hit OK, and hit OK there, and fill in my structures. And then with the terminal diagram, it will be page 1200. Hit OK there, and I can just change the name of my template, and then I can change the name of my page. So give it a description, which is terminal diagram. And then right here, page sorting, I need to sort according to the structures, location designation, and that should be fine like that. And then the last one we're going to create, it's a title page, basically the cover sheet. And right here we're going to use the rich robots. So you should use the title page cover sheet form that you created. So you created a form in one of the lessons previously, so you need to select that type of form. So I'll select the rich robots, which is the one that I created, and I'm going to say open, and right here I'm going to fill in my structures. And with the title sheet, basically the cover sheet, will be page 1, and I'll hit OK there. And right here I'm going to say cover sheet, and I'm going to give it a manual description, and I'm going to say it's cover sheet. So basically you can see also this one here under control enclosure, it's also written cover sheet. If you want to be different, you can write title page, and the one that's being created, the new one, will change to title page. And then with the page sorting, I'm going to sort according to our structures, say OK to location designation, and that should be fine like that. And then with the filters, what I'll do with the filters, I'll show you guys later how you can use the filters. But for now, we're going to generate these reports. So I'm going to hit on that generate reports button, and as you can see, it starts generating the reports and it's finished. And now if I hit the close, what you see is that you see the PLC enclosure coming up, you see the other PLC enclosure coming up, you also see the remote enclosure, deliver robot, welding robot. We haven't done anything that much in the welding, deliver, remote, PLC enclosure. What we did some work in was the power enclosure and the control enclosure. So what I was expecting to see was that I was only expecting to see the control enclosure coming up and the power enclosure coming up. So the reason why we're seeing the other enclosures coming up is because we have this network configuration schematic, and as you can see, this network configuration schematic has a structure for the deliver enclosure and has a structure also for the welding robot enclosure, and it also has a structure for the remote I/O, and it also has a structure for the PLC cabinets, for these two PLC cabinets. So all this information that it's getting now, it's from these network configuration schematics. And as you can see, we have one in the control enclosure and we also have one in the power enclosure. So if you can look at the parts list, this is what you see: PN1, PN2, PN3, PN4, PN5. So if you go to our PLC enclosure in station 1 in the network configuration schematic, so in station 1, what you see right there, PN1, PN2, PN3, PN4, PN5. So that's the information that's coming up there. If you go to the remote I/O, you see PN1, and if you go here, you also see PN1. So it's actually finding this information and now it's outputting it onto these reports. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to use a filter to filter out this whole configuration schematic. And to do that, I'm going to go to insect, and I'll insect a structure box. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to just have it as large as this. And then the structure name, I'm going to say it's underscore. So it's basically no structure. That's the name of the structure. And then I'm going to say OK. And right there, we should have something like that. So the reason why I do it so large like that is because when I print out these drawings, what's happening is that the printing function will only focus on this little bit of area. So it will actually not see that line there. That's why I have it so large. If you have it so close to the schematic, what happens is that when you're printing, the printing function will be able to see those lines there. So that's why I'm trying to just push it so way out of the schematic. I'll just copy it and I'll also paste it here in this enclosure, so which is the control enclosure. I'll just paste it in the control enclosure as well, and then I'll go back to tools and I'll select my project and I'll click on generate, and right here I'm going to start filling in my filters. So I'll fill in my filters for all these templates right here. So for the first one, the cable overview, I'll hit on filter settings, hit the 3 dots and create a new one, and I'm going to give it a name, no structure, and click OK. And after that, I'm going to add more information to this filter. So I'll add functional assignment, click OK, and I'm going to negate it. And then the operator will be equals to, and the value will be no structure. And I'll click OK, and I'll move on to the next one, the parts list. With the parts list, I'll do the same. create a new one, give it a name, no structure. Doesn't matter if you give it a description or not, so I won't give it a description. And then I'm gonna say OK, give it more information, and the functional assignment, negate it, the value, no structure, say OK. And then revision index, there's no need to do some filtering. Structure identifier, there's no need to do some filtering for that. Summarize parts list, we need to do some filtering. So we're going to create a new filter, and the name will be no structure as well. And then we'll select functional assignment, negate the value, no structure, say OK. And then do for the table of content as well. Create a new filter. The filter's name is no structure. And then right here we'll say functional assignment. Click OK. The value, no structure. Click OK. Terminal diagram, we'll do the same. Create a new filter, which will be no structure. And then select functional assignment, negate it, and say the value is no structure, say OK, and also do for the cover page. No structure, and it will be functional assignment, negate it, the value, no structure, and say OK. So I just want to see if all of them are negated. So you can see this one I forgot to negate it. Just say OK to that. Summarize parts list. Yes, it is. And then parts list. Yes, it is. Cable overview. Yes, it is. So we can generate our reports again. So I'm going to hit that generate report button. And I'm going to hit close, and right here what you see is that the other panels are now gone. So I've actually kind of like removed them, and they no longer appearing here. And then the other thing that I was saying with the title page, as you can see, we deleted that one. Remember there was one here with the frost sign, and you can see right here we don't have one with the frost sign, but we have one here with the frost sign. And what EPLAN has done is that it has created another one. Because page 1 is occupied, it has created this on page 2, then it has moved this to page 3, and so forth. So what we need to see is that with this one, it's actually the one that's frost, and this one, it's the one that's not frost. And right here what I can see is that I actually selected the wrong form. So the form that I've selected, it's without the NF-Click robots logo. So I need to select that one. So I'm going to just select it by going to templates, and right here I can change the form. So actually I need to select this one right here, click open, and I'll just generate my reports again, click close, and it should be this one right here. And then what I was saying is that if I insert the text, and I'll say so often enough we put such a comment on the front page of the drawings, and maybe make it 14, make it center, and make it red. I'm just gonna copy this, and sometimes we put a comment like this. I'm just gonna change the angle. So sometimes we would put a comment like this, so that when anybody who reads these drawings, they will know that those drawings, they're not complete, and if Click Robot still needs to review the drawings. So if you have a comment like this, and for some reason you hit update, what happens is that that comment gets away. So because of the title page is a report, that comment actually disappears, so it gets deleted. So if I put that comment, if I hit here, and I put that comment again there, and what I say is that, okay, I have this comment right here, but what I want to do is that I don't want this comment to get deleted. Maybe, for example, I update this project again, I update the reports, this comment is going to get deleted, but I don't want that comment to get deleted. So one thing you can do is that you can go to generate, and underneath reports right here, these are all the reports that you have generated. So you can go to title page, and you can see right here we have 3 different title pages. So we have this one, which is under station 01 without a location designation, which is this one right here. And then we have a one with the location designation for power enclosure, which is this one right here. And we have another one with the location designation for control enclosure, which is this one right here. So it's actually at number 2, and you can see that 2 right there. So we want this one to be frozen. So what we can do is that we can right click and say freeze report pages and say yes to that, and as you can see, it's now frozen there. And then if we close this and now we hit the update button, that comment doesn't disappear. So we can update it, that comment doesn't disappear at all. But now what EPLAN says is that you cannot update this page manually or automatically. So you saw I did it automatically, it's not getting updated. What you need to do if you want to do a new title page, you have to delete the one that currently exists. So I have to delete this one that currently exists, and I'll just delete this one. So right now what you can see is that I have the title page still on page 2, but that's not a problem. I'm just going to generate my reports again. So I'll go to template to generate them, and I'll hit on that generate reports button. And now what happens is that my title page is now on the correct pages, and all the other pages are on the correct pages. Another thing that you can see is that if you go to parts list inside power enclosure, you can see that we go to page 1000, and then we go to page 1000A, and instead of going to page 1001, 1002, 1003 like the terminal diagram. If you look at the terminal diagram, it goes from page 1200, page 1201, 1202, 1203. So that's what we want for all our reports. So in order to actually have this working fine, is that you can go to select your project and go to your settings, and right here under settings, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to just type here output to pages, and I'm going to select this one right here, output to pages. And right here you can see this output to pages are basically all our reports, and right here you can see it's project, so it's underneath projects, underneath my project, which is welding robot station 01, and it's underneath reports, and it's output to pages, so output this reports. And if you look at these, you can see all the reports that we have in EPLAN. And from these reports that we have in EPLAN, some of them are being used, some of them are not being used. And we will focus on the parts list because that's the one that's having a problem of having A, B, and C. So what we need to do is that on the parts list, we need to uncheck this. So you see it says subpage, so we need to uncheck that subpage. And also just check which one is giving that problem. It's the summarized parts list. So with the summarized parts list, we need to uncheck that checkbox, and after that we can just hit apply and say OK, and then we can hit the generate button and we can generate the reports again. And then if we click close, what you see now is that we have the parts list on page 1000, and we have the next page of parts list on page 1001. Even the summarized parts list, we have the summarized parts list on page 1300, and the next page is at 1301. So that's how you can generate reports for your project. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next lecture.